It's exciting to be here. Thanks, Jasper, and thank you, everyone. We're here to talk about two things that you wouldn't normally think would work together, a music video and a bank. So when I say we, I'm talking about the collective we as an agency village. There's a huge amount of agency partners that have worked along with this to actually create this music video with HSBC. It's going to mirror the earlier session. What we're talking about is embedding in culture, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create brand momentum, looking at how we can influence and engage and communicate with our audience through culture. One of the ways, I think it's exactly what they were saying earlier, we're going to focus on music, where they were talking to sport. And I think brand building is really difficult today. We're not just competing against other brands. We've got so many other competing parts, and culture is a massive part of that. So culture and cultural moments seem to own, they own the audience attention. So that's where we need to be playing. There are a lot of brands out there that's really easy for them. They're young, they're new, they don't have the compliance factors. Very different for a bank and HSBC. So, Flora, would you like to tell us a little bit about the motivations behind the song? Can I also just say, the song currently has hit 2.3 million views, which is huge.
Thanks, Gina. So hopefully some of you have heard of this song. The name is called Bread and Better, and we launched it a few months ago. So essentially what this is, why we came up with this idea is from an international bank perspective, we have our international audience, our very loyal customers, but at the end of the day, we also want to make sure we make that connection with the younger audience, specifically the millennials and Gen Z. So how can we communicate with them and connect with them? Because ultimately a lot of that generation, they might not have the best trust in banks. They are exploring a lot in fintech and all sort of other financial institution kind of gateway. But what we want to do is really find a way that's approachable, maybe go beyond a little bit of the traditional way of communications. The idea is how do we foster financial confidence of the millennials and Gen Z? So entertainment and music is ultimately, especially music, is ultimately, a universal kind of language and really sparks passion. And what we're trying to do really is to connect emotionally with that audience rather than just selling a financial products. But we do understand that they have a lot of concerns. They all want to retire. Actually, with that generation, they want to retire even earlier. So with our quality of life study conducted by HSBC Global, we found that the millennials, actually, they really want to achieve financial independence at the age of 55, which is a bit younger than actually what other generations want. So they have that struggles, and we've done quite a bit of research around it. So in order to make our message resonate and connect and let them know that, hey, we know you are struggling, let us find a way to help you. So you can imagine we want to make sure we have that connection first. So the song, that's why the song idea came about.
I think that came about through research, and a lot of, there was a lot of focus groups and research and understanding how to talk to this generation, how to engage with them. And then obviously we're looking at using these creators and selecting them. So for the song, you've got 3 amazing artists. How do you go about selecting who these are and being authentic to the brand as well?
Sure. So the 3 artists that we selected, they are obviously within that generation as well, up-and-coming singer-songwriters from different geographies, actually. Ultimately, we are trying to go after the Singapore markets, but also the internationalists, all right? Customers with the international mindset. So we have Gentle Bones, who is also Joel Tan, who is an artist in Singapore, and then also collaborating with another 2 artists. One is called Keung To, who is a member of the popular boy band in Hong Kong called Mirror, and also Gareth T, who is an R&B singer-songwriter. So the idea is with HSBC, we're trying to open up a world of opportunity. So we want to practice, right? Practice what we preach. It's not just about the message to customers, but it's the way we deliver and collaborate with creators as well. So that's why we put the three together. And we also try to be as authentic as possible as a brand when creating this kind of content. So we did a lot of research in terms of understanding the background of these individuals. And we know that through a lot of interviews, stories, and their background, they do have that ambition, right, to retire early and to go beyond, actually even like Singaporeans, a lot of them want to retire and relocate to other countries based on research. So we're trying to find people of similar minded to put them together to create a song together. Yeah.
So all three artists were genuinely interested in wealth and well-being and understanding what that means and how they can approach that, which obviously helps things. And the song about making bread, hang on, words there, it's about highlighting sort of the struggles, isn't it, and life goals and ambitions that the youth are faced with today.
Yeah, so bread is essentially, a lot of people have heard of bread as a metaphor for money, the dough and the bread. And actually we found out, again, we did quite a lot of focus group and research to make sure that resonates across different demographics, right? And also people with different cultural background. And it's found that, hey, actually, that works, in terms of making bread, making money. So essentially, the video is about, we also try to be a little bit lighthearted, to put a bit of humor in it, because ultimately that's what people want when they're on TikTok or YouTube channel. They want to be entertained. So on the music video, we're putting the three guys together, showing their own individual struggles. And then, the parody is about, them then getting together to make bread and have their own business and fulfill their dreams and ambitions, yeah.
I believe we have a 30-second clip. Are you able to play that now? No.
I don't want to go at this alone. I'll find my friend down this road. No, right in my darkest, you'll come pick me up. The journey is tough, but I'm learning to trust. Through the storm, through the tides, through the mountains that I never thought I could climb, but I still.
And I expect you all to go and stream that afterwards and get our views up. But it's been a fantastic few months, and I guess these things don't come together easily. I think looking at the challenges that you face and creating something like this, especially from a bank compliance level, I would have loved to bring a fly on the wall watching Flora convince the bank to make a music video. What are some of the challenges throughout the process, Flora?
Yeah, lots of challenges. It was fun, but also challenging, because you can imagine not many banks have gone into this kind of strategy or taken this kind of risk before. Maybe I can categorize some of these challenges into four things. One is ultimately the logistics. The fact that we do want to make this a collaboration working with different artists, and we want to make sure the artists have enough, some of them are popular enough to help us get that organic scale at the beginning. So doing that, how do we find the right place to shoot the MV with all these artists' super busy schedule, and also they are actually with different labels as well. So some of them with Warner Music, some of them with another. So that's why we actually put a lot of our trust with the Omnicom group of agencies to help us sort out all the contracts, all the logistics, the licensing, the publishing rights and all of it. So all that, we just really rely on our agencies to put that together. So a lot of those logistics, paperwork, and also just be mindful about some of these. If you try to find popular artists, they also have a lot of current contracts with other banks, with other geographies. So exclusivity is something that we're really mindful of as well. The other piece is content. I think some of the previous speakers also talk about brand, right? We want to make sure we stay within the brand guardrails. So that's important. And when we work with the MV producers, etc., you can imagine if they're not that familiar with this kind of format, then it's quite hard to convince them, oh, you must have red color croissants or whatever. So quite a lot of that back and forth. Again, we put our trust into the creative agency to make sure that it's that storyboarding So a lot of the music industry, they're not used to being so structured with the storyboarding or all of it. But with us, we need to get RC, like our legal and compliance approval and all of it. So it is important to strike that balance and still be able to give that creativity to those experts, right? I think maybe I can share a little bit with those artists. Actually, we deliberately made sure we find a music producer. There's a very accomplished music producer called Edward Chan, based out in Hong Kong, and he had actually worked with some of these artists individually before. So they speak the same language. We are not the musicians, but with them, we know that somebody being quite agnostic and expert in the industry can actually speak that language, convince them, hey, what is this song about? You have that flexibility and freedom to come up with your rap, your lyrics, but as long as you project that kind of message that the client wants. So that's important in terms of like working with all the different industry experts and making sure that they understand our brand language. And then the last two is more like, as a marketer, measurement is super important. So the challenge is also, how do you map all the views, all the streams? I know we are like almost 2 million streams on Spotify, etc. What does it all mean to business? How do we drive conversions? So I'm happy to say the song is really just one piece of a much bigger campaign called Grow Your Wealth, Get This Bread campaign. So essentially, once people are more inspired, we actually got them to watch more educational or financial literacy focused videos, still focused around baking and investment. But if you look at our promo landing pages, we have a lot more episodes with influencers talking about, for example, there's a lady called Andrea Chong with Jen, who is, I believe, the owner of the bakery, where they will actually draw that parallels between baking, diversifying, investing with all the right wealth tools that HSBC provides, and how you marry that with investing. And then last but not least is really amplification. So after you've done all the measurements, making sure you have all the right tracking, amplification is all about how do we make this beyond. So what we feel like with this theme is very universal. There is really a lot of leg in terms of getting even other markets to leverage this thematic and make sure we can continue to inspire not just the millennials, but the older segment as well, the mass affluent segment.
Fantastic. Anything else you'd like to mirror from the experience, Flora? Anything that, working with creators and in their environment going forward, any key learnings?
I think definitely the collaboration piece is really important. The planning and collaboration and really putting your trust in the right experts' hands is really important. But ultimately, with marketing, is data driven. You have to look at the data to see if you are on the right track and doing the right thing. So, like before we even plan on doing the song or what genre or what artist, we did a lot of research, not just on audiences, but also working with the MarTech partners or platforms like Spotify to find out like who are the most popular and why are they popular for the Singaporean like industry, that sort of thing. So to really make sure we hit those marks before we actually plan on the execution, the channels, etc. So doing a lot of research upfront is pretty important. Yeah.
And key to have a great project management team with so many partners involved and artists. There's just so much going on across the whole time. It's really, really imperative to have that team there managing it. Great. Well, thank you, and we hope you all go off and watch Bread and Better and help your wealth and financial well-being. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.